6:39 now. The widow of actor Robin Williams reveals the comedian was in the early stages of Parkinson's disease when he died. Susan Schneider released a statement yesterday about her husband's suicide, saying that he was sober, but he was struggling with depression and anxiety. The news also issued a response from actor Michael J. Fox, who was diagnosed with that disease in 1991. In a tweet, he says, "Stunned to learn Robin had Parkinson's. Pretty sure his support for our foundation predated his diagnosis. A true friend. I wish him peace."
Well, there is new information this morning about suicide in the San Diego Unified School District. A recent study by the Alliance Healthcare Foundation finds that 10% of girls and 7% of boys at San Diego schools have tried to take their own lives. The school district is the second largest in the state. Local experts say there is a lot of help in the county for people who are considering suicide.
When people are dealing with mental health struggles, I think a lot of the time they feel they have to go it alone. They don't realize how many resources we have in San Diego.
Some warning signs include being withdrawn, having anxiety, and giving away personal belongings. So one of the most difficult things is to be able to identify if someone in your life is struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts. So this morning, we want to welcome Kimmie McPherson. She's here to share her story along with her father. You probably recognize him, Pastor Miles McPherson. Good morning, and thank you for being here. Kimmie, especially to you, because that is pretty darn brave and awesome of you to come out and talk about something that most people wouldn't want to talk about. So tell us a little bit about your story and how you struggled with something similar to this.
Yeah, so I actually started struggling with it at the age of 16 as a teenager.
Struggling with?
Depression and suicidal thoughts at that age. It stemmed from an insecurity, as a teenager, comparing myself, trying to find my identity, and just feelings of isolation I would go through, not wanting to engage in daily activities, just feeling very, very hopeless, like there's no hope. So
What did you do during that time?
Well, I normally would just isolate myself and just not reach out to people, but
Kimmie, I got to interrupt you. We're going to come back to this conversation because this is a really big deal, but all right, it's 6:50 in the morning. Just in case you're just joining us a few minutes ago before we had to break in for that breaking news, we have two special guests here today, Miles McPherson, pastor of the Rock Church, and also his daughter Kimmie. We were talking about suicidal thoughts and depression. Just in case anybody is just joining us right now and they missed that first part, I want to get to what started for you, what age and what was going on through your mind during that time?
Yeah, so it started at the age of 16, and what was going on through my mind was comparing myself to other teenagers, to other people, not feeling like I measured up, insecurities, just a lot of negative thoughts going on. So.
And when you thought about these things, it led you to have depression? You thought about taking your own life?
I did. I felt that hopeless that I just felt like this is the answer to take my life.
Did you ever try?
I didn't. I never tried, but I've been in those really, really dark places.
Kimmie, to hear this coming from you, this is the first time I'm meeting you. You are such a stunningly beautiful woman that I think it would be hard for a lot of us when we hear about these depression and these suicidal thoughts. Most of the time they come from people that you're like, really?
Right.
Really?
Right.
As a father, Miles, you're sitting next to your daughter. I mean, I know this was, years ago, but what is that like for you to be able to hear that your child, you would never think that your child is going, and you're a pastor of a church, like helping so many people. What is that like for you to hear that?
Well, when Robin Williams killed himself the other day, that hit us hard, and we said we have to go on television. This is something she still deals with today. And the reason we wanted to come on television was to encourage people who are dealing with suicide. Over 440 people a year kill themselves in San Diego. That's more than one a day. And we just wanted to go out and tell people it happens to everybody. It has nothing to do with what you look like, who your family is, how much money you have or don't have. 80% of people who kill themselves in San Diego are white. 15% of all the deaths in San Diego are suicide. So there are a lot of people struggling, and we just wanted to say there is hope for you. I mean, she Obviously, we have doctors involved and supplements involved, but we also have faith in God. And we just wanted to encourage people, don't give up. As a parent, you have to fight for your child. As a friend, you have to fight for your friend. And that's why we wanted to come on television today.
Miles, did you know Kimmie was going through something like this, or did you go to your dad, or how did you find out what was going on with your daughter?
Well, we could see it. I mean, she would be withdrawn.
It's really evident. Yeah.
Did you ever go to your dad and say, Dad? You know, I ask these questions because a lot of us are parents, and you know, I can't even imagine ever since I became a mom to think that your kid, like your perfect kid, and is a baby and you love them, and all of a sudden they grow up in 16, 17, you worry about these things. You know, you want them to be okay. So what do you tell kids maybe that might be watching, or anybody in that case? I mean, you dealt with this when you were maybe, what, you said 16, 17 years old? So what do you tell somebody if they're feeling this, and let's say they're watching right now?
I want to tell them, don't give up, that there is hope, and there's hope in God, and that's where my hope lies, and that's where I found my identity in God, and He does love you, and He has a plan for your life. So don't give up, no matter how dark it is, and I know how dark it can get, and how negative and hopeless you can feel, but the answer is not taking your life.
When you look back, are you able to identify what caused all of that for you?
For me, the biggest thing was identity. Just because I was comparing myself to other teenagers at that age. And then it just kind of went on as I went into my mid-20s, and I eventually actually developed anxiety. So for me, it was the biggest thing, identity, and just that comparison for me.
You said that you went to doctors and whatnot. I think comparing yourself to teens, put that aside, I think almost everybody does that, right? We still do that as adults nowadays. What makes the difference between that and then actually thinking, you know what, maybe my life isn't worth it, and you'd be willing to take it? Did you learn that information when you went to the doctors?
Yes, there are a lot of factors. There's the emotional factors, there's chemical factors in your brain, which is things she also deals with. And let me be clear, this is something she's dealing with now.
Still today?
Like right this minute.
Like today.
Yeah.
Like she'll wake up today discouraged and depressed, and that's, it started back then, but it's something that is still lingering in her life. And for people who feel like, I'm not worth anything, I can't do anything, here, hopefully she's encouraging somebody, and she's encouraging somebody in the midst of fighting it today. And so this is very, very real to a lot of people, and we all have people in our life who are going through things we don't know about. And as the supporters, we need to always be vigilant to look around and ask people, when we ask them how they're doing, to look them in the eye and really listen. You know, instead of saying how you doing and not really caring what the answer is, how are you really doing? And being there for them. And we have to take care of each other. And so I want to encourage people, listen, if you're suicidal, call the suicide hotline. I know you have the number. Call the suicide hotline. Call our church. We have a care and concern ministry that can help people and talk to people. But get help, and if you're the helper, if you're the friend, the family member, you got to fight for your friends. One day they could be completely normal, at least appears to be. The next minute, they could be going into a hole. And we live this with her still to this day. So we just wanted to encourage people, because people, you know, Robin Williams, it didn't just come on him. He's been dealing with this for a long time, and we know there are people suffering like that all over San Diego and around the world.
Well, we appreciate Miles and Kimmie, both of you, for being here and being brave enough to talk about this. And hopefully there's some people that are going to take something from this and make some changes in their own life. Thank you for being here, to both of you. By the way, for the number to San Diego Suicide Hotline, and for information about the programs at the Rock Church, we've put them all for you on our website. Just go to fox5sandiego.com. Raul?